We'll get things started here. Good afternoon. My name is John Bronkhorst. I am the offense coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Bastrop High School here in Bastrop, Texas. We're a Class 5A school here in the state of Texas. The response has been pretty overwhelming. I'm just a nobody high school coach down here in Texas who wanted to talk a little football and posted that on Twitter and Facebook, and next thing you know, I got a pretty good response on it. So I'm in no way, shape, or form any sort of expert, guru, or anything like that. Like I said, I'm just a regular Joe football coach down here in Texas who likes to talk ball. So whatever I talk, whatever we talk about today or anything like that, I mean, everyone's got their own way of doing things. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we do and how we do it. And then, again, hopefully there's some dialogue and some questions and things like that today. And hopefully it'll help some people out. I've been more, what I guess termed as a power spread guy for a few years now. People ask, what is defined as power spread? I define power spread more as being in a 20 personnel H-back type look with 3 receivers. And that's what I deem to be a more power spread. We spread out. We still have 3 receivers. We're still able to spread the H-back out, motion them back in, et cetera, and still wanting to run the football. We're a run-first program. That's my biggest goal. My biggest thing is I want to run the football. We want to run the football for an average of 250 yards a night and throw it hopefully between 150 and 200. And we feel like if we do that, we're going to be very successful. And so it's a philosophy that I believe in, and it's a philosophy that I think I think is beneficial, especially at the high school level. And you can see it a lot in the college level as well. I'm in my 24th year here coaching in the state of Texas. Been able to coach many different levels: college, minor league, professional, arena football, 6-man high school, 11-man high school. So you name it, I probably have done it in 24 years. I was, when I first started out, my very first OC job, I was running a split back here. I thought I was a West Coast offense guy, a spread guy. I've run the air raid, but I've been more geared towards this power spread look. And then about 7-8 years ago, started dabbling with RPOs with Noel Mazzoni and what he was doing, UCLA and that sort of thing. And basically started kind of dabbling in that, and then got into I met a guy by the name of Brent Dearman about 3 years ago that helped me out with understanding and learning the RPOs a little bit more. If you follow me on Twitter and that sort of thing, I'm a Brent Dearman, Gus Malzahn, Chad Morris apologist. I've met Coach Dearman. I've gotten to know him. Never met Coach Malzahn, and have met Coach Morris a couple of times when he was a high school coach here in Texas. But I believe in what they do. I don't think there's a more genuine coach in football than Brent Dearman. Being able to sit down and talk to him on a regular basis, being able to text with him. He sat down with me at a bar at AFCA, spent 2 hours talking RPOs with a bunch of coaches. So I really believe in what he's doing. He's taught me a lot, opened my eyes up a lot about the RPOs inside of this offense, and simplified it for me to help at the high school level. So what I'm going to do today, a little bit on the whiteboard here, is kind of just talk about what we do here at Bastrop, and also mixed in with my philosophy. Again, I'm the offense coordinator, so there are some things that our head coach has stipulated that he wants us to be able to do. So a little bit mixture of my philosophy outside of the program, and also the philosophy of inside of our program as well. So does anybody right now have any questions for me in regards to, you can put in the chat, or you can just open up your mic from that sort of thing. So before I get started. Okay. Again, if you guys, this is an open. Again, I'm not anybody special, so feel at any point in time while I'm talking, unmute yourself, ask a question, that sort of thing. You guys, there are probably guys on this phone call, on the Zoom meeting that have way more experience, have done things a lot better than I have won probably a lot more than I have. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a guy, so who likes to talk ball. So you guys don't hesitate. And hopefully we learned something today. So I'm going to move my computer to my whiteboard so you guys can see it. So hopefully this works out just fine. What we're doing here. So I apologize for the reflection from my window here. So I'm doing this in my office at home. So all right. So I hope everybody can see that. Again, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do. The biggest thing for us that I think is important in the things that we do is it's not just necessarily the X's and O's of what we're doing, but also about the process in which we do it. Everyone can run inside zone. Everyone runs split zone, power, counter, that sort of thing. For us, it's also identifying the process in which we install. How do we install our RPOs and that sort of thing. And so, the biggest thing is that, there are some influences that I take from the air raid and learning the air raid from Coach Money is we do a 3-day install. Okay. So from what we do, day one for us is all of our zone stuff. Okay. That means we're going to, we're working on our inside zone, split zone, outside zone. And then we also incorporated wide zone this year. And I learned that from the great Nick Caduti, who is a wide zone guru. He's down here in Tomball, Texas. I don't know if you guys know who he is or have talked to him, but he does a tremendous job with wide zone. And he taught it to me, and we incorporated it. So day two for us is more of our gap scheme. Okay, so we're teaching all gap that day. So we're teaching. We're gonna teach our power. We're gonna teach our counter H. We don't run counter trade. We don't pull guard tackle. We pull guard H back. And we're also going to teach our buck. Now, I know it's not necessarily a gap scheme, but we also teach buck sweep that day. And then on day three, which is a Wednesday here in Texas. Not just Texas, but for us, because we play on Friday nights. So really it's our day that we cover all. And so what we're going to do is that on day three, we're running it all. So we do zone, we do gap. We're going to run through all of our offense those days that we've done the first 2 days. Okay, so that's our run game. Next, we have screens. Okay, so day one, we're going to do our quick screens. Day two is our slip screen. And again, it's the same thing here. We're going to go through all of it. Okay. Next, we have our quick game. Okay. And the way we do quick game is a little bit different. It may not be too much different from what y'all do, but for us, we apply it into our run game. So very few times are we just going to call a straight up quick game pass play. We're, for the most part, on first and second down especially, we are going to incorporate it into a run play. And so the reason we do that is we feel like that at any point in time, we have an advantage. If everybody does their job correctly, then when we call inside zone with a stick, that we're going to be in a position of being able to dictate whatever. So if the defense rolls out and they do something and they bring a lot of pressure, we can just throw the stick right. If they drop into coverage and our read is there, then hand the ball off and we've got numbers. So we really feel like by giving our offense on, especially on first and second down, the ability to have the run pass option, we feel like we're at an advantage. We don't RPO very much on third down. Let's get downhill. If we're third and under 5, we're going to run the football and get after them. If it's anything from third medium and up, it's most likely going to be a pocket concept of some sort or sprint out, that sort of thing. So what we do is that, again, we're working on our quick game. And so what we do is we just break our quick game up from, we'll run stick, snag, curl, or the stop route. The next day, we're slant bubble, slant rail, slant out, and then and then here again we're running we'll also run our vert game here, our quick game vert game there, and then we do pocket and sprint out here as well. And so we'll work from that standpoint. We'll get our our shallows, mesh. We'll go Y sail. We'll go Y cross. And again, we're working on all of it on day 3. So that's kind of just how we install things. Our kids know exactly what to do every single Monday, every single Tuesday, and what Wednesday is going to be. That's kind of our base stuff of what we do. Now, obviously, each week when we're facing an opponent, we may add or subtract, especially in the run game. We like to run lead and that sort of thing. So, or we might run a little dive play or a little trap. But for the most part, this is how we install, how our install schedule goes on a weekly basis. Anybody have any questions on that?
Yeah, Coach, can you talk about slant rail? I don't think I've ever heard that concept.
Yeah, awesome. And again, like I said, I'm working the best I can when it comes to the chat, so you guys be patient with me. So if I don't get to it, then you guys, just unmute and tell me. So, all right, so slant rail. It's a great question because I love this. I love this play. So we run slant rail kind of 2 different ways. Depending on what we're trying to accomplish that week. Okay, so everybody see that's our base formation here. So what we're trying to do here is basically this. The first way we run it is we run kind of a delay, what we call a delay slant rail. So we're here and we're attacking like this. Okay, he steps back to make it look like a key screen, and then he's running a slant route. Okay, that's one way of how we run our slant rail. Okay, and again, it all depends on, if we're running a lot of outside key screens that week, we'll incorporate that to see if we can get the corner to bite, the safety to bite, and then we just take off. We kind of run at the corner, stutter on a little bit, and take off. Okay, then we have our traditional slant rail. Well, I call slant rail. A lot of people call it a wheel. Is that? So slant clears and the rail comes off his butt. That's what I mean by slant rail. Okay. Any questions? Does that answer your question, Coach?
Yes, it does. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay, so that, again, going back, that's kind of how we set things up in regards to the week. Okay. So let's get into kind of how we, from the RPO standpoint. Okay, I'm a big RPO guy. I love RPOs. I think again, you have to have, if you're going to run RPOs, it's got to be something that you're dedicated to. And I have a great head coach who understands and appreciates what we're trying to do from an RPO standpoint. So he, over the last couple of years, he's really bought in and kind of let me go with it. A lot of people run RPOs very differently. They, multi-levels, and they run, they 2 levels and et cetera, et cetera. We don't read inside linebackers in our RPO game. One of the things that, again, at our level, with our quarterbacks and everything, I just feel like, the way that Coach Dearman has taught me and has taught a lot of people is the way to do it. We have what we call C gap and D gap reads. Okay, and that's basically all we do. Okay, and so this is a primary formation, so we're going to talk about our D gap RPOs. Okay, so on day one, the big thing for us is that, again, we're working on inside zone. And so one of the things we do in our install, we tell our receivers, I tell my receivers coach, listen, our receivers don't need to know the run game right now. So they're going to get taught the quick game. We're running mostly, pretty much 99% of the quick game out of our run game. So I want the focus to be on them learning the quick game. Offensive line, don't worry about quick game. You're going to learn the run game. You learn run, screens, and pocket. Don't worry about quick. Running backs, you're going to worry about run game. You're going to worry about screens. You're going to worry about pocket protection or routes. And quarterbacks are the only ones who need to know everything. And that's just how we teach it. Okay, so we marry everything in. Now, one of the things that we do differently that I think some people do is that we don't attach one quick game concept to one play. Okay, so we will go into a week and say, okay, this week we like run and stick, snag, and let's say curl with inside zone this week. So we'll go into any game and we'll run our inside zone with those three. So I can call any of those three attachments to the inside zone. Okay. So I just don't believe in just taking one run play and one quick concept and leaving it at that. Okay. So we will run multiple concepts, quick game concepts with our run game. Okay.
Hey, Coach. Coach, can you go into your procedures on how you guys do that? Because that's something that we're looking at.
Procedure and how we do that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you, multiple signalers, or do you guys play cards, wristbands? Like
everything is signals. Okay. So what we do is that our offensive line does not need to know anything in regards to signals. Our quarterback will give them. Okay. So basically, what we're doing is that we use the echo system when it comes to our formations. Okay. So we don't signal formations. Okay. So we will just we will call trio right. Okay. And we'll just start yelling that out. Trio right, trio right, trio right. That way, guys can get moved in and ready to go. Okay. Then what we do is that we will give a direction signal, okay? So if we go black, red, brown, blue, whatever, okay? We'll give the direction signal. We will give the run play and the pass play, okay? The quarterback is the only one who needs to know it all. The receivers are looking for their pass concept. The running backs are looking for their run concept. The quarterback looks at it all, and he will sit there and just tell the offensive line the direction and the run play. That's all they need to know. The receivers need to know the direction and the pass play. That's all they need to know. So that's how our signal process goes.
Now, do you signal? I imagine, do you signal for not formation? Excuse me, motions, or do you just echo?
Yeah, we will signal motions if we have a motion in there. And so what will happen is that if we have a motion, we will tag the motion in between the direction and the run play.
Perfect, awesome, thank you.
Okay. Again, everything, and we going with the Malzahn, Morris, Dearman. We use code words. We'll use, college names, cities, that sort of thing. Atlanta, Falcon, that sort of thing. So, again, we use the colors, and we change up every year. So, we go black and red, blue and brown, orange, that sort of thing. So everything has a different color attached to it. Okay.
Hey, Coach, and this is something you just yell out from the sideline, correct? You don't have somebody come up to you and then to relay that in, correct?
Say it again?
This is something you just express from the sideline. You don't use any external signs or actual posters or any of that sort of stuff?
No, we don't use posters. We'll signal in the direction and the plays, but we will echo, we will yell out the formation call. Okay. So everything else outside the formation, everything has a signal to it. Okay. And so we have one hot coach, and then we have 2 coaches who are dummy signals. That makes sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay.
What are some of your go? I'm just trying to think it out loud here. Like your, I guess, foundation signals, certain gestures with your finger.
What we do is we basically want to, when we come to identifying, our signals, if we're using a college and their mascot, so we'll do something, because every play has two names to it. Okay, so if you have Atlanta Falcon, okay, so that way our quarterback can either call Atlanta or Falcon. It's the same play. Okay, and so that that way it's just not one name. So what we do is we come up with a signal that has something to do with that. Okay, with that team. Okay, like if we have let's go Oregon Ducks. Okay, if we have Oregon Ducks, we'll give a signal like this. It's wings. Okay, so our coach knows that everybody knows that we're running Oregon. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so what we try to do is we just try to come up with signals that represent the name. And a lot of times, to be honest with you, a lot of times the things that we do is that we'll get with our players and say, hey, if we have Kansas Jayhawk, what is something that you can remember? And they may give a Kansas Jayhawk, they may say, okay, Kansas is known more for basketball, so we'll do a jump shot, that sort of thing. Okay. So we try to let the players have a say in the things that we do in that regards. Okay. All right. Any other questions on that? This is great. You guys keep firing away. Okay. Okay. So again, we're going to get into the RPO, how we do RPOs and how we teach RPOs. I try to make this as easy as possible for our quarterbacks. Okay. And so one of the things the first thing I do, again, I got this from Coach Dearman, is that we teach gaps. Okay. And so we tell our quarterbacks, again, you're responsible. If we're in a 20 personnel look or an 11 personnel look, you're responsible for the D gap run fit. Okay. And so what we do, if we're facing a standard, a 4-2-5 look of some sort, something like this, okay? And we're going this direction. That's our read. That's our quarterback's read. Okay, he is the D gap run fitter. Okay. Now, one of the things that's very, very important that we explain to our quarterbacks is this. If you get this look, which we do every once in a while, okay? If he is over top or outside of number 2, he is not a D-gap run fit. This gentleman, that safety, is your D-gap run fit, okay? And so what we do, and I teach our quarterbacks that from day one. You have to look at alignment. You can't just assume that because he's sitting out here that he's in the D-gap. He's not. This gentleman right here, this safety, is in the D-gap. That's our run fit, okay? Now, I tell them as well, you have to recognize you can have pre-snap movement. So if they roll out and start walking down, he becomes the run fit. And so we go through those scenarios with our quarterbacks day one and letting them know how to identify, okay? If we want to go, if we want to do go to the boundary side, for example, we'll say that this is the boundary. Okay. And so this is our boundary side. Okay. What we do is, because we're on the short side of the field, if we're coming that direction, we're actually going to, if we're up tight, we're going to read that man, okay? Because this is going to be a cover 2 look for us, okay? Which means that because it's single receiver side, he's going to jam. He becomes the run fit on this. He's over top, so we're going to teach our quarterbacks to read the corner. Now, if they want to run an invert on us, which we see every once in a while, and roll down that safety or that rover, then he becomes the read. So it's really important that, you know, from day one at camp, off season, whatever, that we're teaching our quarterbacks the proper read. Because if you don't, especially at the high school level, you're going to get a lot of mistakes. And it happened to us in year 1 early on. We just weren't reading things right. And so, you know, it's really, really important that your communication with your quarterback is extremely clear on what defines a D-gap run fit, okay? And so going through the whole process, again, of how we install this. So if we want to run our inside zone with stick, okay, with a stick concept, okay, we're going to run it to the field side, okay? Again, the big thing here is making sure that you have an O-line coach who buys into what you're doing. Okay, I have a great O-line coach. We have great communication. It's the most important relationship on the coaching staff that I have from an assistant coach standpoint is with my O-line coach, because if they don't buy in, if they don't understand, it makes for a very difficult process. So what we do, our philosophy is this: we don't attack linebackers that don't attack us. And that may not be very popular and may not make a lot of sense to people, but it prevents us from getting a legal man downfield. Now, do we still get a legal man downfield? Yes, we do. Over the last 3 years, we've probably gotten 5 called against us. Some are bogus, some are true, because we just weren't paying attention. And sometimes the adrenaline just gets the best of us and we just kick off. It happens more on outside zone than it does anything else. But one of the things we do is, again, we tell our O-line, okay, make sure you solidify first level first. Okay, we combo block on our inside zone a lot. We don't true zone it, so we'll do a lot of combos. But we tell our O-line, do not go after linebackers who don't attack you. Okay, so if these guys are sitting back here and they know that we're an RPO team, we have a lot of teams that will sit their linebackers at 4 or 5 yards depth and sit there. And then at post snap, you know, they'll make us make a decision, then they'll attack. So what we do is we just tell our guards and tackles, don't get up to the linebacker if they're not coming at us. If they want to stay at 5 yards, let them stay at 5 yards. And if we get a run read and we hand the ball off and we get tackled at 4 yards, we have to be fine with 4 yards. And that's the toughest thing to get coaches, get play callers, get assistant coaches, head coaches to understand that averaging 4 yards on a run play is not bad. Okay, you have to be willing to accept that, because eventually those 4 yards become 8 yards, become 12 yards, become 15, et cetera, because you just wear people down. Okay, but you can't get upset when your quarterback makes a read and a linebacker makes a tackle at 4 to 5 yards. You can't be upset about that. And think that plays a failure because we didn't block the linebacker. Well, we can, if we say, you know, screw that, let's go do it. Hey, we'll just take the chance, and you bust a 60-yard stick route because the D-gap run fit or the safety or somebody makes misses a tackle and he goes for 60, but then it gets called back because your tackle came off his combo to the linebacker and it was a lead man downfield. So again, it's just one of those things that you just have as a coaching staff. If you're going to RPO, you've got to have an all-in approach to it. You've got to understand that we're going to sit there and work that combo long. We're gonna duck walk and hit him. We're gonna sit and hit that combo long. We're gonna gap hinge back here, okay? And we're not gonna attack those linebackers unless they attack us. If we come here, we get an attack here because and he makes a move here. That's great. We'll just hit. We'll fire off. We'll hit here and we'll come off and we'll pick him off. That's great because he's under 3 yards. Okay. But But if he's going to sit at 4+, we don't need to worry about him. We're not going to worry about him. We're just going to take it and go. Okay. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on that?
Coach, not on that specifically, but I do want to backtrack just for a second about procedural stuff. We run a lot of 11 personnel, and our tight end kind of functions like your H-back does. And in terms of signaling stuff in, we always kind of I always get caught in a pickle of how do you guys signal into your H-back, whether he's involved in the run call or whether he's involved in some of the perimeter stuff, trying to get out into maybe a pass concept or something like that?
That's a great question. What we do is we will tag him. Okay. If we give if we give a flat, if I call, we have a play that we will, it's kind of a pick route play. And what we'll do is if we're either in an H or a Y here, we run kind of a flat route with them right here. And so what we'll do is we'll give the play call here with the tag. And so that's how he knows. So it can, every once in a while, things do get a little, they can get long. That's why we don't use wristbands, and that's why we don't run receivers in or huddle up, because it gets wordy for me and the coaches. But that's just one extra signal if we give him a flat call or that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and how about for your drop back passing game? Is he defaults like with the offensive line with the blocking, or is he default?
No, he's out in the routes.
Okay, cool.
So
got it.
When we teach pocket stuff, when we have our specific pocket period, he's involved and he knows what his stuff is. So we go through a period where this is exclusively pocket and here, and again, that's all pre-practice stuff we get in our meetings and everything. We'll teach them. Okay, here are your pocket concepts. So if we have Florida or whatever, he knows that they know through repetition of meetings and individual that this, when we signal in Florida, that means that, hey, that's my play. I'm involved in that. That's a pocket concept. Okay.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So again, that's what we are internally here. I wanted to start with that part first because it's the most important level is what we do up here. Okay. Now, this year was the first year that we've gone to the pistol. We still run offset, but we do run majority of everything that we do through the pistol. And the reason being is that teams, they can scheme you based on the side that your back is on, because especially if they know that you're a heavy RPO team, they can scheme the side that your back is on to your RPO. So there were a lot of headaches that we started to get, because when we set our back to the offset side to here, teams knew that, hey, if they're going to RPO, they're going to RPO this side, because I teach our quarterback that whatever side you open to is the side that is a post-snap RPO. Okay, and so we don't ever flash fake here for an RPO or run our RPO here and then turn back and run the pass concept behind him. So if his back is turned, that's the post snaps. That's our pre-snap side for our gifts or anything like that. Okay, and we'll get into that in a second. But whatever side I open to is the side that we're running our RPO to. So with us getting in the pistol now, we can run split zone back this way or whatever we want to run to this side. If we want to run counter, because we'll RPO or counter as well with some things. But now it keeps what I feel is it keeps defenses balanced. They don't know which side we're going to, because we'll go single receiver side RPO. We'll go two receiver side RPO. We'll hit motion over the H, whatever we'll do. So it keeps teams from being able to just say, okay, the back is to this side, so we know that they're running RPOs to this side. So it just keeps teams a little bit more honest, a little bit more balanced from that standpoint. Okay. So we're going to run our inside zone with our stick. All right. Again, we're going to this side. That's our read. That's our D-gap run fit. Okay. We're running basically what we call it's a stick route. It's more like kind of like an option route in a way. Okay. So what we're doing is we're telling them you're going 5 yards, and you're basically going to go either inside. You're going to curl up. You're either going to work in or you're going to work out. Okay, from that standpoint. So that's our stick. Okay, and then now we're running inside zone. So he's going to take one slide step. He's going to press the center's butt. Okay, and we're either going to we're going straight down the chute. All right, or we're hitting here or coming out backside. Okay, true inside zone for us. Okay, quarterback step. The steps for the quarterback is basically he's here and he does not look at the running back. Okay, he's identified. He's staring at this man right here. Okay, that's who he's staring at. So he looks right at him. He sticks the ball out. We tell our quarterbacks the decision has to be made by midpoint. Okay, if your decision has not been made by midpoint, you're handing the ball off, because if all else fails, give. If he doesn't make a decision, if he's just sitting there, if he's kind of just messing around, give the ball. Okay, don't, because more things will go bad in a misread to throw than they will go bad on a misread to hand off. So at default, any confusion, any uncertainty, give the ball. We live for another down. Okay, reserve the right to run another down. Don't throw a pick because you were confused. Okay, so that's our inside zone. It's a basic inside zone stick route concept for us. Okay, any questions on that? Any questions on the pistol versus offset? Okay. Our next one we like to run, again, we like to run our what we call our keys, our key screens. Our field side key screen is basically our crawfish bubble. Okay. And then again, we're gonna block most dangerous man here, which if we got a high safety, we're blocking the corner. Again, same thing. We're reading the D-gap run fitter here. Okay, he's gonna turn, and we're reading him. If he jumps, we're handing the ball off. If he steps down, we're throwing the bubble. Real simple stuff on that. Okay. Now, boundary side. We run anything boundary side. We'll go single receiver. We'll run what we call a little split zone. So we'll give the same look here. Okay, so again, this is our boundary side. So we're going to run a little split zone look here. Okay, what we do is we tell him we're going to float here. Okay, we're comboing. Sorry, we're going here again. We're going to combo here and eyeball. The center's he's going to punch, eyeballing backside linebacker. We're whamming him, slide step, go. And then what we do is we will run a glance. So this is our read here. Okay. If he triggers on the open and he comes here, we're going to run a glance route behind that safety. Okay. We're going to run a glance route, or we'll run a vert route, or we'll run a out. All depends on what we want, how we're going to attack, but those are some of the options that we will run there. Okay, so we just run a little split zone look to the boundary side, and that's kind of some of the things that we do there. Okay, any questions on that?
Yes, Coach. Why do you choose to read the corner on the glance instead of the high safety?
One of the reasons why we do the corner there is because they're giving us a cover 2 look, okay? And so the corner is the run defender. So he'll be our run read there, okay? I gave the glance as an example because that's part of one of the packages that we'll run. Depending on what type of safety we're seeing, where his depth is, it may become a quick out. We may tag the quick out on that instead of a glance. It all depends on how the safety's playing that week. But we read the corner on that look because he's in cloud coverage, so he's a cover 2 corner cover here, and so he's a run defender for us. So that's why we read him. They give us an invert look. That's more of a glance look that we will get in most cases. But I'm just going more of the examples that we of some of the options that we will tag onto a split zone look. Does that make sense?
It does. It's more finding out who the force defender is going to be. Is essentially what you're saying.
Yes.
Thanks.
Again, they may invert that safety, that rover down, and now he becomes the run fit, and so you're going to get a little bit higher corner. That is that's a perfect opportunity right there to throw that glance route now.
No doubt.
So now I'm kind of I apologize.
Coach, on that glance route, if you don't mind, is that like a line throw, or are y'all putting that, like people say, like a 2-ball? Like, are you putting it up to a spot if that rover, for example, is a really heavy run fitter? Are y'all putting it on a line to him or letting him run?
Yeah, it's kind of not. What I tell my quarterbacks is this: it's not necessarily a 2-ball, it's not a 1-ball. I call it a 1.5 ball. It's got to have some zip. It may have to have a little bit of air under it, but it's really not a true 2-ball where you're fitting it over a linebacker and under a safety. But it's got to have some zip on it. So I'll mess with them and tell them it's a 1.5 ball. But yeah, the purpose is that it's on that glance route. We're running a not a true post. We're running kind of what we call an expanded slant on that. It's more about 4 to 5 steps. And run that glance, and we're throwing it with some heat.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, can you just talk about your running back footwork a little bit on those zone type plays?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So basically, it's real simple. All we're doing is, like, if we're opening this side, we're running obviously inside zone that way. And so we're opening to the 2 receiver side here. What we're telling our running back is that he is going to take a slide zone step. And then, so he's going to take a slide zone step here. Quarterback is just going to open up, and then he's attacking here. Okay. The reason we don't want him pressing straight down our quarterback's back is that I don't like the possibilities of disaster there. So I want to take a slide zone step and then have him press. That gives our quarterback an opportunity to take the snap and get his feet correct to where he can identify our read here. And then we're pressing center's butt.
Is your quarterback, kind of hopping off the midline, or is he just kind of turning and open?
He will step. I don't know. I apologize for turning my back to you, but it's basically like this. Okay. Like you said, like midline look.
Yep.
So we're going to step back with our right foot. So if we're going this way, we're going to step back right, open up, back will start pressing us and coming here. And again, we're looking into the gap. And so we don't take steps backwards. Okay. We stay in line with the center and where the back was. Okay. And let the back kind of widen himself out and then start attacking. Okay.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate
it. Great questions, guys. Keep them coming. And again,
hey, Coach, got a question on your.
Send this out to everybody. I want to post it as well for everybody.
Coach, got a question on your stick concept. So
yeah.
we've run a ton of stick, and the defense's answer is always to screw down and go to man and take away some of those zone-beating RPOs. Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple different options and philosophies on how to deal with defenses that will just screw down into man. One is to just run more man-beating RPO concepts, more, rubs and slants and stuff. The other is to kind of go stack to kind of force them out of man. And then my preferred way, at least in the past, has been to just go 7-man protection and take some shots downfield. I guess, what is your answer to when the defense will screw down into man and take away that? And I guess why?
Okay, so that's great. So what we do is that if we get in any sort of look where, they screw down, or if they, if they want to bring the safety down, or even if they want to take the backer and put them out there and keep the safety high, okay, that becomes a problem because you're, again, like you're talking about, you're in man. So you're really, that's a difficult prospect with stick. So one of the things we like to do is that we'll simply run a dash call, okay? And so what we're doing here is it really becomes a C-gap RPO for us, okay? And so what we're doing is we're reading him first, okay? And so we'll sit there and run we'll run a bubble here and have him take off to clear out. And what we tell our H-back is that you're going to come up, you're going to check linebacker, okay, to make sure, because what I don't want is, if he presses down and we pull it, what I don't want is I don't want him bypassing the linebacker and killing our quarterback. So he's going to check linebacker. If linebacker has filled here, he's going to continue to work to safety. So as he's coming around, he's going to eyeball that backer. And if he gets a hard scrape over the top, we're going to pick him up. And our quarterback, again, he's got to work on him. It's one-on-one with the safety. I'll take that. If we get tackled at 6 yards, I'll take that. All right, so that's one of our answers that we have versus man, because it clears him out because he's going to go with the bubble. It clears him out because he's going with the vert. All right, so that's one of our answers that we run. Okay, so we just simply give a dash call to our H-back, and we're basically zone reading now. Okay. Next thing we'll do is that, again, like you said, we'll run some rub routes. Okay, and so we'll do. It becomes more of this, and we may not even. I'll be honest with you. We probably won't RPO it. We'll just call it. Okay, to get teams to get out of man. And so what we'll do is we'll widen out. We're going to widen ourselves out here, and we're going to basically run our slant, and we're going to get out here, and basically we're going to shield him off. We're going to shield these guys off because they're going to run anyway, and we'll flash fake here, and we'll just throw the flat route out to our H-back and force either him or him to have to get out there. So those are some of the things that we've done as well to attack man. As Coach German said, the biggest thing that what he calls mansers, you want to defeat man. You got a C-gap run. You got to have a running quarterback, or you got to run your rub routes. Another one that I like to call as well on a man standpoint is running that delayed slant rail. So we step back here. Okay, so we get that look right there. So we run that delay here. He'll trigger down because he thinks that we're running a quick screen. We'll come off here. And so if you're running at that corner, if the backer sees that he's running at the corner, he'll flatten down. Okay, he'll flatten down, and we turn it up. That's hard. That's hard for him to readjust, and we'll take the whole shot right here because, again, the way where he's sitting, that's a hard ball to get to. So that becomes a whole shot for us. We're not putting air on that. We're throwing basically a 1-2 ball on that and just getting it out there. Okay, so those are some of our answers to man and how we attack them.
Coach,
Thanks,
you
Coach.
That H-back also to do that and run him on a wheel route behind those two, that same rail concept you did earlier?
Yeah, we'll tag that. We've done that. We call what we call a pipe call. If we want to, we'll get here and say we want to run. We give a key call here, and we run a pipe. Okay, and so he'll step out like he's going to block the end, get the safety to trigger down a little bit because they see this, and we'll run the pipe route right behind that linebacker and just throw it over that linebacker into that void.
That's good stuff. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah. Somebody else have a question?
Do you see any odd coverages? Is it primarily, too high quarters looks, or do you get any cover 3 that you run against?
We do not face very much cover 3. I'll be honest with you. We get more quarters look. and man. The last 2 years, or previous 2 years, I should say my first 2 years here in Bastrop, we had a very dynamic quarterback. So he was a running quarterback. He got a D1 scholarship at Houston Baptist University. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, about a 1,500-yard passer. And so we got a lot of quarters because teams, they couldn't afford to go man against us because he could run. So we got a lot of quarters, which I love because we just would eat people alive with our RPO game on it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think somebody posted in the chat, how about trips, same receiver on the RPO? Elaborate on that, Coach.
So my question was, you were diagramming your stick RPO over there. If you go trips, are you still throwing it to the number 2 receiver, or are you throwing it to number 3 and adjusting that route with the number 2?
You're talking true 3 receiver trips?
Yes.
Okay, so if we get into this becomes a C-gap RPO for us because, again, we lost a blocker here. All right, so it becomes more of a zone read for us, okay? And so one of the things that we have done in the past, if we get, we've gotten this look right here. And so what we will do is, first of all, we got to read this guy, okay? If he gets here, then we're attacking here. And so what we have done is that we'll run him on the stick. We'll run him on a little bubble here and send him on a vert and basically read this guy next. If he sits there, we'll attack and throw. Okay? So those are some of the things that we'll do on that. We will we'll do the opposite. When we're running the stick here with the bubble here, we go here to here on the read. If he triggers to the if he triggers to the bubble, because we're throwing, it becomes almost like a little sprint out for us because we're throwing on the run. We tell our quarterbacks if it's a C gap read, you are throwing on the run because you're not protected. So you got to get outside of the box here. So we'll attack. Okay, if he triggers to here, then we'll either run it depending on what the backer here is doing. If you get a hard straight, we'll throw the stick there. Okay, so we give our quarterbacks a lot of looks on how they can defend that each week. Does that make sense to you, Coach?
Sure does. I like it. Thank you.
Any other questions? We got about 5 minutes left. This has gone by fast. I love it. I plan on doing this every couple of weeks. Coach Hunt, Jared Hunt, was supposed to be on today, but he texted me yesterday saying that he had a couple things that got in the way at his school that he's been having to deal with, so he wasn't going to be able to join us today. But what I'm hoping is that as this goes along, every couple of weeks, every month or whatever, I'm going to have somebody else come on and do a presentation for us and that sort of thing. So that's kind of my goal this off season. I like this stuff. We're just going to clinics because I think I get more out of this than I do than sitting in a clinic. So I like going to talking to coaches specifically or doing these sessions like this. I just feel like I get a lot more out of it.
Coach, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
In that previous look that you just showed, do you ever get a hard corner sitting in that flat and maybe a safety jumping that stick and any hold shots with that fade?
No, we've never gotten that look.
Okay.
We've never gotten that look. It would be curious. Okay. So last thing we're going to talk about, we talked about post-snap looks here with our RPOs. One of the things that we will do, if we get, just a regular standard look here, we also have pre-snap gift routes, okay? And so if we know that we're opening this side, this is our RPO side, this is our post-snap side, this becomes our pre-snap side, okay? And so what we do each week is that we will go into a game and say, okay, versus this team this week, our pre-snap single receiver side look that we're going to get is a vert, Okay. If we feel like that's and we tell our quarterback, okay, it's yes or no. Okay. He knows that he's backside. He's running a vert every single time. Okay. If he knows that the play is going away from him, he's running a vert every single time. The reason being is that I want all my guys engaged. So we got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 guys who can get the ball on any given play here. If we tax up to the H, and maybe 5 guys. Okay. So I want to get all my guys engaged, all my skill guys engaged in every play. So I want him to think he has a chance to catch a vert every single play if the play is away from him. So we tell our quarterback, it's yes or no. If it's no, we run the play. If it's yes, you rise up and throw the vert now. Okay. It may be a hole shot. It may be a over the shoulder. It all depends on the leverage of the safety. But if they're going to play a hard press corner here, okay, on a cover 2 look, he's going to jam him and release him to the safety. Most times, we're going to throw it right there. So yes, no. If he feels like that, he can take that shot and get that. We're going to do it. The only time our quarterback cannot throw a pre-snap gift route is on 3rd down. 3rd downs are no-goes. Okay. We don't RPO very much on 3rd down, and we don't throw gift routes on 3rd down. Okay. Those are downs that I will control. The 1st and 2nd down are open. Okay. So now, conversely, if we're going single receiver slot, and this is post snap, and this is pre snap, we have a couple different things that we will do. The first thing that we do is that we'll run our bubble look. Okay, if he's screwed down a little bit and he's still high, it's basically 2-on-1 here because he's so high up there. Pre snap, yes or no? Can we throw the bubble? Rise up and throw it and win it. If we get 5 yards off it, that's a win. We get 3 yards off it, it's a win. Okay? But that's we tell our quarterbacks, yes or no. He's got to answer the question. If it's no, then we're running post-snap play to this side. If it's yes, rise up and throw it. Everybody else is going to run their stuff, and we throw the football there. Okay? We may run double slants. Okay? Yes or no? This will be who we're going to in most cases. That's what we tell our quarterbacks. So we'll go each week. We'll give them 1 yes or no. Okay. We'll give a single receiver side yes or no. We'll give a 2 receiver side yes or no. From a pre-snap look. Okay. Any questions?
Does your 3rd down philosophy change if it was 4-down territory?
Yeah, it does. All depends on down and distance, really. If I know, because I work for a guy who is, if we're at our plus 40, it's 4-down territory. I mean, if we're anywhere from 40 on, basically 60 yards out from the end zone, we're going for our 4th down. So it all depends on our down distance. If we're in a 3rd and medium look, we'll go with an RPO call still because it's a 4-down territory thing for us. And generally speaking, my head coach does a great job of telling me, hey, we're 4 down, so you got 4 downs, you got 4 downs. So he lets me know really early in the whole process, hey, you've got 4 downs, so call accordingly. And so basically, I treat it like I got a 1st down and 2 second downs to play call, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Again, this thing has gone by fast. I've really enjoyed it. I love talking ball. Like I said earlier, again, I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert on this stuff. Everybody does things differently. So I hope you guys got something out of it. If it's just one thing or a lot of things. But, I appreciate you guys. You guys, I will, whenever I have the next one coming up and we have our guest or whatever, I will definitely be notifying everybody either Twitter or inside the Facebook group. If you're on Twitter and also have Facebook and haven't joined our our Facebook group. It's a private group, coaches group, the Power Spread-RPO. It's in my Twitter. It's pinned to my Twitter. So you guys, get onto that. We post a lot of content in that thing, and really enjoy it. So again, appreciate you guys. I hope all of you have a safe holiday season. Stay safe. It's still crazy out there. Send me messages, emails, questions, whatever. I'm an open book. I love talking ball. So don't hesitate to contact me. Okay. You guys take care. And again, I'll be posting this Zoom as soon as I get it uploaded and edited and all that type of stuff. Okay. Appreciate y'all. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Coach. You coaches as well.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.